It has finally happened, folks. Training camp is officially open with quarterbacks and rookies and coaches reporting, and that means we have more for you today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. We're brought to you today by FanDuel. Make sure you get in the action. They're going to give you every moment can mean more with them right now. Get in. All customers are getting a boost or bonus right now if you go to that daily link, and that is FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. We have a lot for you. Obviously, the first day where you see players in camp. Matt Derrick is here live from St. Joe, at least live to me, because we're going to put this on a slight delay for you guys. We'll get to him. Make sure you check out Chiefs Digest and everything where he is posting all the updates. This is going to be a fun show. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell here on YouTube. This is the Locked On Podcast Network. That means your team every single day for free. Here on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Music, on any platform you can get a free audio podcast. You can get us 5 days a week. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, NFL33.com, and RGR Football. You can find me at all those places. This is Matt Derrick, the editor-in-chief of Chiefs Digest, the man on the ground, and the guy who got to see the first day's comments, Matt. I'm really intrigued by how this gets going. It's been a crazy offseason, and it feels like this is like that quote from the Kevin Costner movie, Clear the Mechanism, right? Come to St. Joe, settle down, be focused on what you have to do. What was your impression of QB1 as he rolled into town?
Yeah, this is what training camp number 8 for him. It's hard to believe that's how quickly it's coming along, but it's old hat for Patrick. This same old. I don't think there was anything new and surprising. Obviously, he's got a new crop of rookies to answer some questions about. Really, the only other thing that's out of the ordinary that Mahomes noted is that it's an Olympic year, and college football 24 is coming out, so we had to bring a TV this year. That makes complete sense because everybody in the NFL is going to be playing college football 24. So I don't think he's alone there. There's going to be plenty of leagues going on.
I absolutely agree. It's going to be, carpal thumb syndrome for a lot of players in camp when they're not on the field. I think Patrick should be able to waste that time. I think you have to have the downtime. It has been a very busy season for the stars on this team. Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, obviously Patrick Mahomes doing a lot of commercial shoots and those kind of things. One quote from today that really stood out to me when it comes to Mahomes was in regard to rookie Xavier Worthy. We'll talk about him coming up later. But just understanding that despite all that noise and the fact that we didn't see him in OTAs, I thought that the response to what's the plan for him is that there's no room for error. He's got to hit the ground running and get after it fast. I feel like that's a little bit more urgency than we generally hear from these first days at camp. And I feel like it does really emphasize that it is a full court press. You're going to jump the rookies in as fast as possible, particularly Xavier, to get that offense jump-started after last season. How did you take that, and what was the feeling in the room with that reply?
Yeah, there were kind of two different answers for that from both Mahomes and from Reid. With Patrick, he was specifically asking what's the plan for easing him in. And he was pretty blunt. There's no easing in. I mean, he's just got to be ready to go on day one and get out, get it done. And he's going to get that. The first couple of days, it's the quarterbacks and the rookies that are out there. So he's going to be able to get a lot of time with Mahomes in these first couple of days. Andy Reid says he is ready to go. And and he says, hey, there will be a little bit of acclimating him. These even though the next 2 days are for really the rookies and the quarterbacks together. Day 3, the veterans aren't there. They kind of get an off day, so the last day of just a rookie install period itself. But these 3 days of this mini camp are his catch-up time. This is his opportunity to just get on the field for the first time. Should be a full go, so he's going to be able to let himself kind of fly around a little bit. It's going to be his chance to knock off the rust that he kind of gathered up at the end of OTs and during the veteran mini camp. So, now, it's kind of two different answers. I mean, one hand, Mahomes is going to be going to him often and there's no break point. But the Chiefs, from an organizational standpoint, they are going to make sure that they at least use him appropriately. They're not going to push him too hard. They don't want another setback, anything of that nature. And from Andy Reid, at least, the indication are he is past this hamstring injury. So there isn't really a reason to back off of him. It's just, a knocking off the rust is why you're going to maybe take it a little slow with him.
I completely agree with that. I think that's smart, but you got to get enough done to make him relevant early, in my opinion. But it also, I feel like, has to be a push mentally for Xavier, for the rest of the offense to really incorporate. You have to be a little more forgiving with a rookie trying to learn these ropes. You have to be, as a veteran, somebody they can mentor, can't get short-tempered or anything like that. The question for me becomes about the competition level. And I think Patrick kind of hinted at it as well. The TV is not just for playing or college 25 or whatever it is. It's about the Olympics as well. And I find it very interesting. The Olympics during the same summer as the training camp, the level of competition, the inspirational value of that with guys in close proximity and rookies coming in who could see themselves on a track like that. They could see themselves competing at that level. I find that very intriguing. What do you think that does for morale, just having these two things going on at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Andy Reid likes to still go away for camp. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. It's not just the football. It's not just to, put guys into uncomfortable positions like he talked about a little bit today of, creating those, adverse experiences so that you can kind of test yourself mentally and physically and get ready for those moments during the season that are going to come. It's hard to replicate that in another environment. And this isn't a tough camp for the sake of a tough camp. I mean, it's tough for a reason, and it's done a specific way to, not just challenge players physically, but mentally as well. But the part of, this camp that really, is important to Andy Reid, and it's important to Mahomes, and I think a lot of the other players, is just getting to know your teammates. It's bonding. It's, the opportunities that, you don't get the rest of the year. I mean, your coworkers. Yeah, so, maybe you're talking over lunch. I mean, at the facility, it's probably not, honestly, a whole lot different than the work environment that a lot of us have. But here, when you're staying in the dorms, you get that bonding, you get that brotherhood that these, players like the church, they talk about building and everything. And you don't get that during the regular season. I mean, this is 31 days that you are in this camp mentality, and it is different. And I mean, it's a bunch of young guys, and, hey, and obviously there's young women working in this organization too. I think they're probably just as much of the bonding experience in this organization. It's not just the players, it's everything. I mean, video and everybody else that's in this organization. I mean, they get a brotherhood and a sisterhood going during camp. It's different, but you're right. I mean, I think it is going to be having the Olympics going on. I mean, these they're going to be talking about it a lot. They're obviously going to be talking about, I'm sure that a lot of these players know people are going to be competing, and because they're friends in college with Olympic athletes and probably have competed with them. But so, it's a little bit suspenseful for them. So yeah, I think the rooting and cheering on of all of that, and then obviously the trash talking that they're going to get playing more video games than they usually do. There's downtime in camp. It's not all football. There's plenty of downtime. When you're here 24 hours, it's not all football. So they get to have fun, they get to relax. And if that relaxing can be bonding time too, I mean, that's still fulfilling Andy Reid's goal of camp.
It certainly does. And I have questions about where Andy is in particular. When we get back, on the backside of this, what is Andy doing differently? And is he ready to roll right now here on the Locked On Podcast Network? When you're hiring for a small business, you want to find the quality professionals with the right fit for the right role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. It has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team. I'm always looking at LinkedIn. It isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you find professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively looking or searching for a new job might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. It goes down the easiest way to post your job for free is on linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Folks, check out Locked On Sports Today's our 24/7 feed that isn't shouting at you in the background like CBS and ESPN. It's your local experts telling you about your team and every team 24/7. Locked On Sports Today here on YouTube or on Amazon Fire TV. Fire is what I'm looking for. It's going to be a hot summer. There's no way around it. It's going to be up and down. The perennial question, I think, has already been asked and answered. Now, my question to you, Matt, is Andy Reid's level of frustration at this point, still being asked about retirement, etc. Is he ready to go? Does he have an edge yet? Or is he still very, very happy the heat hasn't hit him yet?
I mean, I think that the happiest that Andy Reid is during the season might be the first day of camp. He's in a pretty good mood. I mean, nothing bad's happened yet. So, and I think was pretty relaxed today. I mean, he usually is the first day of camp. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago when I asked him about some of the practice changes and, doing Oklahoma drill, and he like, hey, let's go one-on-one right now, you and me. That's the Andy Reid that you get on the first day of camp. So I don't think there's any day. This is, I think, one of his favorite days because it's just everything's ahead of you, and it's like Christmas for him. I mean, it's the first day you get to really unwrap everything, get started on the new season. It's New Year's Day and Christmas all rolled into one for him. It's all downhill from here. Well, you will see the edgier, fiery Andy coming out in the days and weeks to come. I mean, it's training camp for him too. He and everything, and so. But I think this year, I mean, this season, I mean, there's a lot in front of this team, and he knows it. He knows it. So I don't see it affecting him any differently. I mean, the Andy Reid we got today, I certainly didn't think it's any different than any other Andy Reid. If anything, I mean, I think obviously he's got to be pretty happy these days. I mean, winning back Super Bowl should make you happy. But one thing that he and Patrick both have in common is that the reason they've been as good as they are is that they're competitive. I mean, Reid doesn't want to lose at anything, and he certainly doesn't want to lose at football. So, Patrick's the same way. And that's where, when the competition starts, when you really start to see these guys have their kind of fire coming out.
I think I'm ready to see that. I'm ready to see a lot of things that some of them are not going to happen. Folks, for the record, Andy Reid is not close to retirement. He's not considering that. It's all focused on.
Just said a contract extension. Why are people asking this question?
It baffles me sometimes, but just to let everyone rest assured, Andy's not going anywhere. Some guys are not going, period. I think the biggest update is probably one that I discussed yesterday, folks. If you missed it, go back and check out that show as well. BJ Thompson, to start the season on the NFI list, obviously has what I think is quite a long road in checks and balances to make sure that he's able to resume his career. I didn't get any other update other than that specific fact. What was the tone? Is there any context around it?
No, I mean, other than BJ Thompson is making some progress. So this is, was to be expected. I mean, they want to take it easy with him, bring him in slowly. We'll see. I mean, Andy really didn't get into the short-term, long-term aspects too much of, how long that they expect that he might be out. He is working, so that's a good sign. He's obviously, we got to see him at the ring ceremony, and it was pretty quickly after the episode that he had. So some good signs all there. We haven't got a lot of details yet. So we'll see if this is, how much short-term versus long-term that it is with BJ. But, honestly, Ryan, there's four other players that'll be starting on the PUP list. And those four, none of them really surprised me that much. There's only one that I thought was a little bit of a mild surprise.
And was that Jalen Watson? Because that took me back a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't completely take me back, but it had to be a possibility after he ended OTAs and the mini camp on the sidelines. He appeared to be ready to come back fully from the shoulder surgery during the offseason. He did have a little bit of a tweak. I believe it was a hamstring during the offseason workouts. So that's what really kept him sidelined at the end. And remember, I mean, his tweak was closer to the end of OTAs. Xavier Worthy's was right at the beginning. So Worthy is kind of 2 to 3 weeks ahead of him. So, could it be another 10 days, 2 weeks period of time, or do they, and remember too, I mean, with the PUP list, that's an option that you only have when you come into camp and you report and you haven't practiced yet. The moment you practice, you're no longer a PUP list eligible candidate and player. So anytime that you've got a player that you're bringing back and you want to have the option available in case there's a setback, you're going to start them on the PUP list. So it didn't really surprise me with Jalen Watson, and then it didn't surprise me with any of the others. I mean, Joe Thuney, we expected to probably start on the PUP list. Charles Omenihu definitely going to start on the PUP list. Derek Nottie was probably a question mark, but once again, no offseason program, so there's no reason not to start him on the PUP list. He's a veteran. Let him and Joe Thuney kind of acclimate themselves, let them get their legs under them before you throw them out there. And remember, today's the 16th. They don't have to designate those guys until the 19th when the players report and make the evaluation. And really, on Saturday when they go through physicals and everything like that. So they've got some time before they have to even make those official designations. And then too, we're still 10 days away from the first padded practice. So there's time for that as well. No rush. And especially with the veterans, take your time. There's no need. If it means that you get some other guys into those spots to get their snaps, because, let's face it, if Jalen Watson's not out there, Johnson and Jones should be getting some more. Nick Jones should be getting some more snaps and a chance to prove themselves. If Derek Notty's out there, then you get a chance to see more Neil Farrell. I think that's a good thing. Obviously, with Joe Thuney, you can work in some of these draft picks that you've just gotten, like Hunter Norzad, CJ Hansen. You can give them some snaps and even looks with the first team. That's invaluable snaps this time of year. So if that means some of your veterans are just taking it easy and young guys get a chance to, really get some work in, it's a kind of a win-win to a degree.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. If I am those rookies, what am I looking to do right now to getting in my first camp? There's all kinds of stuff. They've talked to their teammates in OTAs, etc. Up next, what do they do to make that adjustment and get going as quick as possible? That's here on the Locked On Podcast Network. You love sports just like I do, and you love them so much you never want them to stop. But the playoffs have come and go. It's baseball season, and now it's training camp. There's always something to get into the action, and wherever you want to go, you can do it with one app on FanDuel and place any bets anytime you're in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is giving away to all customers either a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com. You can even take a look at the Chiefs right now. They are plus 600 for the next Super Bowl, the three-peat Super Bowl. You can go to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer right now. There's still time left in this summer. FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook betting partner of Major League Baseball and the NFL. Your team every day. That includes Locked On Sports Today. Check it out here on YouTube. It's 24/7 feed of all your favorite shows on all your favorite or least favorite teams, whatever you happen to be looking for. You can also get it on Amazon Fire TV. I also want to look at these next 3 days are critical for the rookies to make that adjustment. Now, the OTA pattern, I think, is always a precursor to it. Just watching everybody walk in with, not looking around, not terribly confused about where to go. Once you get past all that orientation stuff, I feel like the guy that has to make the biggest impression on me out the door is going to be Jared Wiley. I feel like expectations are ramping up for him. I love the fact that he's somebody that can give relief in terms of snap counts to Travis Kelce. What does he have to do to make that adjustment, to make himself relevant as soon as possible?
Well, I mean, I think I think this is true for not just him, but all the rookies. I mean, one of the things that you have to do these first 3 days, and it's going to become readily apparent, is prove that you've been still in the playbooks, prove that you've stayed in shape. You're going to have to pass the gassers test, the conditioning test on the very first day. So that'll be your first indication about whether, you had too many snacks or you get enough lifts in and everything over the last month. But then, you're going to hit the field and you're going to be doing exactly what you did during OTAs. They're going to refresher on all of the offensive installs that they did. So guys like Wiley are going to have to show that they've stayed in their playbook, that they know their roles, know where they're supposed to line up, know their routes, all of this. And, and as a tight end, these next couple of days are going to be some of the most workload that some of these rookies will get. Because think about it, not everybody's in the position of a Kingsley Suamadia that's going to be able to maybe get a lot of, if not all of, the snaps at left tackle with the ones. I mean, not everybody's going to be a starter. There's going to be rookies that, end up being on the practice squad. This might be the bulk of the work that they get is in maybe the next 3 days. I mean, that they're going to get to be essentially starters for a couple of days and get to work with Patrick Mahomes and get to work, maybe a little bit with even Carson Wentz than they would normally. You've got to make the most of it. Absolutely. And for Wiley, I mean, this is important because he needs the next couple of days to continue showing and developing the confidence that he had during OTAs. Keep winning over the quarterbacks, that they can trust him, they know where he's going to be, that he knows his responsibilities, he knows where he's supposed to go, that he's got a better feel for where the quarterbacks are going to put the ball, where, where they prefer to go with it, what adjustments he needs to make in his routes, and what he needs to do with his hands to make sure that he's ready to be quarterback friendly. I mean, that's, I think, more important in the NFL than it ever is in college. So, it's just that you've got to show that you're ready to build what you did during OTAs. He had a really good offseason program. There's other guys too that we're going to see in this camp that did, like a Nico Remigio and the veterans report. I mean, you put him in the same kind of category. You did a lot of work building confidence and taking advantage of opportunities during OTAs. Well, now you got to take the next step, and these next few days are big. But let's face it, Ryan. I mean, even Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes today were both circling it. I mean, the pass on. That's when you learn about everybody. I mean, that's when we're going to learn if the OTA mirage is just that. These are some good flag football players, or they're good football players. You learn that when the pads come on.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. The guy that I think, after thinking about that has the most intense, probably 7 to 10 days right now, given everything that we've discussed today, to me is Kamal Hadden of the rookie group. Because of Jalen Watson, he's going to get a few extra reps. Because it's rookies only right now, he's going to get those reps. I think he's a guy that's on the fringe, quite frankly, because of the depth of this position. If he can make a strong impression in the first 7 to 10 days, I think that's how he gets his bid to try to make this roster. Do you see it differently, or is there anybody that's in a more advantageous position right now in the rookie group?
No, you're right. I mean, these next 10 days, I think, are pretty important to him because, like I said, I mean, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to get more reps in the next 2 or 3 days during this mini camp than he will in any other practice during training camp, unless injuries or unless he just really balls out and, stuns everybody and climbs up the depth chart. I mean, this is going to be his chance to make a showing. And yes, even though it's early, this can show you something. And I go back to last year because, like Echo Boydo, who was not a draft pick, but was an undrafted player. I mean, he took advantage of those reps and opportunities that he got during the mini camp to show himself, because it wasn't like that. It was just, 2 weeks into training camp and Echo Boydo shows up. No, he showed up on day one. And that's what put him into the conversation and eventually got him on the 53-player roster. Hadden is going to get his opportunities. And if he makes this team, he's going to make this team because he's a draft pick and he's going to be asked to contribute on special teams. But if he does, he's also going to have to show that he can play a little corner. And especially as deep as that group is, I mean, you got to be able to play a little bit at the very beginning. So he's definitely going to have to prove himself from that standpoint. And the thing is that, this camp moves so quickly. We think it's forever because it's a month long. And I'm talking about we're 23 practice days, St. Joe's or trips up here and everything. It seems like a long time, but it's not. It's gone in the blink of an eye. And we're thinking of it from an individual player, from their rep standpoint. And we're talking about how Kamal Hadden might be a guy that gets more reps in the next 2 days than he might get in the next 10 practices after that. I mean, that's kind of how important this time is to take advantage and show the coaches what you can do.
Show us what you got. That's what it comes down to, folks. You can get all the information at ChiefsDigest.com and here on YouTube at Chiefs Digest. Matt's solo channel does great work over there. Make sure you check that out. For us, we're going to break it down day by day as we go. Rookies on watch here for the next several. So make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell here on this channel. Follow us on Spotify. Get subbed on Apple Podcasts, anywhere you need it. And if you want more information, check out Chiefs Corner with Chris, NFL 33, and RGR Football with me. Get on the text line at 816-357-8781. Matt, day one in the books. Well done. Congratulations. Camp is back and going. Thank you for your insights, my friend.
Absolutely. Can't wait to keep bringing them to you throughout camp.
It's going to be a fun time, folks. Make sure that you're with us this training camp. We'll have it all on the daily, including any breaking news. Get it all here. Thanks for watching us today, and we'll be